Have you seen all the real estate gurus? The ones with the events, the ones with the expensive masterminds. They're all quitting real estate investing. What is going on? What does it mean? And frankly, have we been here before? We're going to have this conversation with the top 1% agent, Beth Traverso, who's been buying real estate for more than 2 decades, just like me. Beth, how you doing? I'm sure you've seen these videos. Seems like everybody's quitting.
Yeah, it's got me a little bit, feeling some things about it. First it's kind of like, what the hell? And then it's a little bit of like, been there, done that, seen this, when you've been through it. Some people seem to forget, like, this isn't the first up down cycle that you and I have seen. I can think of, I don't know, at least 3 big ones since I started back in the, 2002 was when I bought my first non-owner occupied. I bought my first house hack before that. But it's like, there's been a few cycles of this.
Amen.
And it's kind of interesting to see this all of a sudden. There's been this shift out there in the guru space of, we were all in on real estate and now they're making these videos about why they're all out and it doesn't make sense. And why would anybody do it? They wouldn't recommend it today. And it's kind of interesting. It makes me wonder, like, what that pivot happened, how that pivot happened. Because they're the same folks that were selling funds, they were selling courses, they were selling masterminds, and that must have dried up, I'm thinking, and they need to pivot to some other revenue source, I'm guessing. And for some, that revenue source is YouTube, and and for some, like, I can understand, like, for example, like Graham Stephan doesn't want to own in LA anymore. I get it. I wouldn't either. I would not either. But I would 1031 into something elsewhere that didn't have those challenges.
Yeah.
But he also is making millions off the sale of that, and it's not like that was a bad play overall. Yeah. So, and for a lot of folks, like, that's how these people that are saying it now, like, that's how they built their wealth originally.
Yeah.
But that's not easy in the last few years. It's like, and if I may just continue my rant for another quick minute, but there's a lot of reference to how it was easy in 2020 and 2021. And I'm like, really, was it easy? Because I was on this channel and we were talking back then, I think, and it was not easy. It was, you had to battle it out with 20 other people and cash buyers throwing all their cash at every junky house. That was the golden era, like, was it really? So it's interesting. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. This cycle we're going through for me is very much like, so 21 and 22, which were the heyday of the gurus and the fast money and the education and the masterminds. To me, it's very similar to 04 and 05. The market was going up. If you owned something, you won. And I mean, I remember 04, 05, we said stupid things like real estate never goes down. We said dumb things like that in 04 and 05. And obviously 06 woke us all up, right? Why did we do 2-year ARMs and no asset ninja loans, no income, no job, no assets? It's because everybody believed and said out loud, real estate only goes up. That was the fundamental belief in 04, 05. Now you go back to 21 and 22, we had brand new flippers who didn't know their ass from the hole in the wall, and they were making money because they owned an asset for a few months and it was just screaming higher. And we had gurus who bought 1 or 2 houses, probably never made a lot of money, start selling courses and doing events and masterminds and all of this. Money was just flying around. To me, it was very much like 04 and 05. And I hope people hear this. 04, 05, 21 and 22 were the worst markets for me. And let's be clear, I made millions of dollars in both, but they were the worst. Why? Because being a grinder, being an operator, I got run over. I got run over by fast money who overpaid, who didn't know what they were doing. They called me boomer and they're like, you don't get it, son. I'm like, oh, no, you don't get it, son. And again, that momentum carries for a couple of years. But again, as somebody who was getting run over, it wasn't a lot of fun. And now you fast forward to the hardest year we've had in real estate, which was 2025. It's finally the bottom. We have 80% less wholesalers. I say good. We have 50% less real estate agents. Again, I say good. We have 60% less mortgage brokers. Again, good. Why is all of that good? Well, it's good because we only have the operators and grinders left. The market in 2026, the market we're in now, will be much better for me because we don't have the frauds and the gurus and the fast money and the people stealing stuff. They're gone. They're back being Starbucks baristas. So, it's hard to tell people the end is coming when they're in the fray, like 04, 05, 21, 22. I have videos talking about how stupid these deals were. Yeah. But dude, I'm glad they're gone. I'm glad everybody's quitting because the people that are quitting, Beth, let's just be honest, they're not real estate investors. They are get rich quick scammers. That's all they are, right? Maybe with the exception of Graham Stephan, because Graham Stephan's making a business decision, right? What is his business decision? LA County sucks. It's a communist hellhole. And he doesn't want to, he's trying to simplify his life. So he's like, I'm going to sell, I'm going to bank, I'm going to go put stuff in an index fund. And
that's
I'm going to go make
reason. Yeah.
That's legit, right? Mental health is an important thing. But let me be very clear. For people listening to this, you're not Graham Stephan. You're not in the top 1% of the 1% of the 1% on YouTube. You're not him. So, you need a different way. But all the other people that we see doing these videos about quitting real estate, I'm glad they're leaving because they were frauds to begin with. They're not operators. They got lucky with timing.
They did get lucky with timing and they rode the coattails and they weren't serious investors. They were just throwing money at Section 8 in whatever town that they never been to or did the research on. Somebody said it was a good, you got to do the work, folks. And they were just speculators. And when I hear people, I actually heard on one of these videos, somebody comparing it to real estate to Bitcoin, and you would have been better putting it in Bitcoin. It's like, if you're going to be a Bitcoin investor, go do that, I guess. But what little Bitcoin I have is down. I don't pay attention that often, but I checked on it recently and it's down. What is it? 25% in the last few months or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you and I, we both were investing through the worst hard time, the 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And the main thing is the people are forgetting the part that's the most boring, least sexy part is that you got to hold on. You got to hang in there for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And people just don't have some might say 5 years a suck, but it could be 10 to really start to really see the results of your consistent effort that you made back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you make smart buying decisions and you just ride out whatever these markets are doing, you will see the benefit later, but it takes time. The people that make the millions and millions are the people that hung in there. The people that have the high income are the people that from real estate are the people that did the calculated work, watched the buy box, made good decisions, purchasing the right properties, moved 1031 as needed and did all the right things, learned how to be an operator, not a speculator, just randomly throwing cash. But the patience really is the most important thing because you can do all that stuff, all the right things. But if you don't stick with it, you're not going to see the returns that you are hoping for.
No, I agree with all of that. It's funny. I just had a conversation that got published earlier in the week with Ryan Pineda and Brian Davila. And, specifically Brian is negative on real estate and acts like he's been doing real estate for 10 years, where in reality, he's changing his strategy every 17 seconds. And you don't get economies of scale. You don't get lessons learned. You don't figure out what a great deal is. You're just constantly flying around. And then you have Ryan Pineda say in that video, he bought 5 properties in 5 cities in 5 months. I'm like, are you crazy? I mean, are you insane? Are you trying to light money on fire? So again, folks, not everybody, and that's why I love 2026. It's going to be the year of the operator. Lumberjack landlord's the best example of that. In the year of the grinder, right? Yeah. People that just do the work. And frankly, that's where I thrive. I thrive looking at the market. I thrive writing offers. I thrive following up. I thrive just not giving up. And again, it didn't work for me in 21 and 22 because all these newbies, they'd pay an extra 50 grand and they do this and they do that. I'm like, how are your numbers going to work? But they were too new and too moronic to know the difference.
Yeah.
So dude, I'm ecstatic for 2026.
Me too. And it feels like it's kind of reverting back to the mean. So like when I first got into it, there was maybe Carlton Sheets and these people like that. I remember Carlton Sheets. There's a couple of them out there, maybe one or two, but like the OGs, but then that was kind of it. And it was like only a few people knew about that, and most people that were investing, you just never heard from them. They were just doing their thing. They've been doing it forever. Yeah. Mom, pa, they don't go to any meetups or any of that stuff. They just been plugging along for decades.
Yeah. And shout out Carlton Sheets.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. I remember staying up late at night as a teenage boy watching his 30-minute infomercial. I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
I think I had I don't know if it was cassettes or DVDs, but probably like I had some sort of like cassettes. A case that you would like. I'm that old, people, but I'm telling you, it works.
We are that old. We are that old.
We are that old, and we're not boomers, by the way. People always forget about Gen X. Like, hello, Gen X.
Yeah, Gen X people.
Anyway.
Yeah, but no, I'm ecstatic, and it's funny. Yeah. This topic of everybody quitting real estate, it's popping up right now on different channels, and I'm like,
it's the hot thing all of a sudden.
All I can say is good.
Yeah,
good. Get out of the way.
Good. Finally, finally. But the thing that would be sad would be if the people that are waiting outside trying to decide if they want to go into the stadium, using that analogy, is like, and they just see this and decide not to do it. That would be, for some fine, but like, if people are on the fence and they need the validation of that person making the video to make them feel like it's okay to get into real estate, I would hope that they would find better influences, like the one run at a time community.
Yeah, that's a good point because, there are a lot of people on the fence that maybe we're looking at, I even talked to Graham Stephan, him and I are friends, and I talked to him about it privately, like, hey, you quitting real estate, that's going to leave a mark, right? And he's like, yeah, he's trying to be very clear why, obviously very much LA County, and he's telling the story. It's like, it's great content. He got, the other day he said something like he was told by the city to cut down a tree. He had a permit. He cut down the tree. Then another part of the city came back and fined him for cutting down the tree. And he's like, Michael, I can't make this stuff up. It's just crazy. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's wild.
It's horrendous. Yes. And I don't blame him at all for getting out of it. But look at how he bought, he held, he made millions, success. And now if he wants to pivot into something else, hey, more power to him. I love Graham.
He's making that, like Anna Kelly talks about this life by design. It's just a phrase that stuck with me the last couple of days. And that's what he's doing. He's trying to simplify his life. He's trying to get, trying to trade time for stress. And he's fine doing index funds and running a, 7 or 8 figure YouTube business. So good for him.
Yeah. And it's also thinking about like where your time is best spent and your value per hour, et cetera. Yeah. For him, it's not arguing with somebody at a permit office over a tree or something stupid like that. Like that's not his best use of time. I understand that,
Couldn't agree more.
But I'm not looking to do that kind of thing either, so that's why I wouldn't invest there. But similarly in Seattle, I 1031 out of that years ago, and now I'm outside of it. But
you gave me something in LA County, I would list that thing tomorrow.
Yeah. I would take it and then I would list it. And
exactly. Mm-hmm. I'd find a way to get rid of it. Absolutely.
So I get that, but for a lot of folks, we're not in that position where your time, the value of your time is to that level where it doesn't make sense to invest in real, and you already have millions of dollars to work with. You can deploy in other ways. The main thing is like, you got to get assets to get ahead in this economy. I still think real estate is the best way people can start from zero and really get somewhere and become wealthy. I think anybody can do it. Almost every real estate investor I know started as a regular person with no money.
Yep.
So
I was trying to find my second book, because I wrote a book on purpose of what you just talked about. This my second book, folks. If you haven't checked it out, it's called 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires. The genesis of that book was Mike Zuber sitting in bed at night the first 10 years of investing, wondering if he's doing the right things. I literally had, again, the first 5 years sucked. Didn't make a lot of money. The little trickle of cash flow I thought I had never showed up. Always something broke. And it was the idea that I wanted to capture 15 unique stories of people who made it to the other side. and what are the twists and turns to get them there. So that is all in the second book. I wrote that book for you. I know you're struggling. Go get it and put it by your bed so you can read different chapters and just go, okay, I know it's possible. So 15 different stories, because that's all it takes. People just need to know it's possible. And sometimes reading somebody else's story and you're like, hey, if that idiot did it, I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And just the consistency and the dedication. And if somebody purchased in 2026 and you're looking back from 2036, like, do you think somebody would be happy they bought in 2026?
For the most part, absolutely.
I'm going to say yes. I mean, I haven't seen, even like in the worst, like 2008,
yeah,
everything was
18.
crashing.
Yeah.
2018, where were we? I think you just got to be willing to stick it out. So anyway, I hope people are not losing their inspiration who want to do this. If somebody wants to move on to whatever the next thing is, more power to them. I wish them all success.
Me too. At first, get out of my lane. Go pitch Bitcoin or silver or buying businesses or social media companies. Go do something else. Get out of our way. Let the grinders and the operators have at it. And that's 2026. Beth, where can people find you?
Yeah, BethTraversogroup.com. You can Google my name, find me on social media, and I'm also in the One Rental at a Time school community, so you can find me on there.
Yeah, and she'll be in Vegas.
I will be in Vegas. See you there.
14th and 15th. Later.
All right.